Wow, you actually came back for a third time. That was brave of you. Hi, Felicia. Thanks for stumbling across Retail Therapy Live. No, this is not retail therapy in the traditional sense. This ain't no goddamn shopping spree. I don't know you like that. But what we are doing today is chatting about the ins and outs and the ups and downs of working in retail, based on my 15 years experience in what feels like an endless black hole of retail. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, then fuck around and find out. Before getting started, I want to say that the information that may be discussed in this video is solely based off of my personal perspective, my experience, and my opinions, and in no way officially represents any of the companies that may be discussed going forward. My only intention is to share my story and never to misrepresent anybody or any business. For part 3 of my retail therapy sessions, I want to talk about self-expression in the workspace, specifically focusing on appearance. We're going to get into dress code, hair, piercings, tattoos, and my perspective on these topics now and throughout the years. To start, let's get right into what's arguably the most controversial topic in retail. And that is the acceptance, or lack thereof, tattoos and piercings that are visible at work. Because I just don't get the aversion to these minor body modifications like those aforementioned, I did me a little Googling. And Daddy Google tells me that some companies might see tattoos and piercings as distracting and unprofessional. Honestly, not sure what makes a little bit of metal and ink unprofessional, but sure, go off, queen. I think Lucille is coming to say hello. This is my Lucille. Hello, Lucille. Hello, Lucille. What's this? What's this? Don't lick my lip gloss. I need that. She is so pretty and I love her so much. Lucille, my white sheppy girl. If your employees are bored enough that they are constantly being distracted by body modifications, then that sounds more so like a lack of engagement with your team from the management. And honestly, that kind of sounds like a you problem. That's really bitchy about. And definitely an area of opportunity to be a better leader. Obviously, I have no issues with tattoos and piercings. I love them, and I love being able to connect with my team members and even my customers over tattoos, of course, when the time is appropriate. The only time I'm going to draw the line is at wildly inappropriate adornment, like a giant swastika on your neck or a big old fat dick, where the public can see it. Otherwise, go off with your cute neck tat and your bridge piercing. Hell yeah. Just like tattoos and piercings, I love me some cool ass hair. Ass hair. But I am a lot more judgy when it comes to the appearance of hair at work. And that's because it can be directly correlated to cleanliness. And in cosmetic retail, cleanliness is a number one priority, of course. So yes, it is very important to take care of yourself. As for cut and color, get down with your vivids and your badass alternative styles, but please just at least maintain it. Or wear styles that maybe aren't as obvious for when your shit be looking crazy. No hate, we've all been there. I'm literally there right now, bestie, hence the hat. I just think that wild, faded out, outgrown, damaged vibe is giving off a vibe of being unkempt and lazy. Kind of like you rolled out of bed and just went to work. Maybe you did. I don't know. Day to day in your personal life, honestly, who cares? Live your best life. But when you're being paid to represent a brand, tidiness and professionalism is expected, and that's totally understandable. When my hair starts to grow out and fade, my go-to styles are like box braids or beach waves or really anything that's gonna hide the chaos. Now, when we get on the topic of company dress codes, I am really on the fence about how I feel because the company has every right to decide how they want their brand to be represented. And though I understand and respect that, there are aspects to this that I really just don't understand or agree with. Like, for example, tattoos and piercings, as long as they are respectful and clean looking, essentially. I've been in some companies that were insistent on having no visible piercings or tattoos and no funky hair colors in the workplace. And of course I complied, but it doesn't mean that I had to agree with it. In my opinion, at the end of the day, it's just ink, metal, and dye, and if it's not getting in the way of your success or mine, then why not allow it? In the company's defense, you are being paid to play the part of the company's best friend, and you do agree to these terms when you sign your offer letter. I don't make the rules. I've been very fortunate in the last few years, thankfully, because almost every place I've worked at has had a very loose and up to interpretation kind of dress code instead of uniforms. And as much as I love that, that can also open up a lot of other issues. Some issues are very, very obvious, like wearing crop tops or see-through leggings, and as management, we deal with that as it comes. But other issues are just not quite as obvious. Side note, have you ever ripped your pants at work? I have, twice. Thankfully, it was at Winners, so I was able to just go buy some pants in a panic. But wow, what an experience. Speaking of Winners, I worked at a couple locations a while back, and I started at one store where it was totally okay to be wearing jeans and a sweater. But when I stupidly transferred to a different location, suddenly my jeans and sweater became too casual, and that is my problem with these non-dress codes. I think if you're going to give somebody this awesome option to not have to wear an actual branded uniform, you need to have consistent rules throughout all locations so that there's no confusion or unfairness. To wrap this up, I think if we're going to have non-uniforms, we need to be a lot more specific in what is and is not allowed. Or you are going to have Olivia 100% pushing back, wearing hats, wearing leggings. And pushing back when you say they're not allowed, because where in the employee handbook did it say that? And I'm a bitch. Next on my long list of Starbucks lovers, let's get into maquillage. And for you uncultured dandies, maquillage is makeup. Thank you. I too am an uncultured dandy. I just happen to know that one French word. First of all, let me say I love makeup. I am super passionate about it. Used to think I was going to be a makeup artist. Turns out, don't like touching people's faces. You never know what you're gonna get, right? But it doesn't mean that a bitch don't need a break here and there from wearing a full face of makeup. Now, I feel like a lot of companies are doing a lot better with not enforcing very strict makeup rules. But surprisingly, it was not the ones I expected. For example, when I was working in the true black hole of retail, which may or may not rhyme with schmudge and schmay, Jordan, I think you know who I'm talking about. I used to wear makeup daily when I was there. And unfortunately, at the time that I was working at Schmudge and Schmay, I was dealing with a lot of really heavy stuff at the time, and honestly, just keeping myself together was a complete struggle. And naturally, one day I did need just a break from makeup so I could choose sleep instead of waking up early. And that one time I didn't wear makeup, the general manager started saying that I looked like I came right from the gym. Which, no hate, I love the gym, and I probably did just come right from the gym, but that's really unhinged. And my department manager came up to me and insisted that I put on some foundation or something. Like, that was her words, like, can you just put on some foundation or something? That was definitely a hurtful moment, especially since I was already going through it, and honestly, those comments just did not help. On the flip side, I went to go work at the Body Shop, and I was thrilled to see that their makeup rules were very relaxed. I felt so welcome and accepted for who I was, whether I had a full face or nothing on. For the record, the Body Shop is even better now. They have the ununiform, and there are no guidelines for men versus women, like what to wear, what not to wear. It's just very generalized. And rather, they just let everyone express themselves how they want, as long as you are representing the business, appropriately. In conclusion, there really is no conclusion here. Just a silly little chat with a silly little lady. And I will leave you with that. I hope you'll find me again next Friday or Saturday, depending on my work schedule, for another little chat. In the meantime, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Retail Therapy Live, where I'll be posting a lot more frequent shenanigans. Also, feel free to leave me a comment or whatever. Until next time, bye Felicia.